Hello to all traders and welcome back to another engagement for the non-farm payrolls. My name is David Kinley. I'll be taking you through the post and pre and post data, of the non-farm payrolls and to see where the American economy is going, having a look at some of the charts and answering any questions that you want me to answer on the chat on the box that you have access to now. So we're just seeing now a bit of a slowdown in the dollar. We're looking likely that gold is pushing back up to the 2000 handle. But how soon will it get there and what is in store for the next few months as well. So I'm always getting asked questions about gold and the dollar. So let's get right into it and let's just have a brief look on the charts before we get into the slides at the moment. So we're just seeing now where we are going in the near term as well. And I just have to share my screen with you one moment. Okay, here we go. So let's just go straight into gold first of all, because it's had quite a nice move to the upside in the last few trading sessions. And as you can see here, since we had this peak of just over $2,080, this was when the banking crisis really started taking effect. And also we had the Fed really pushing for another rate hike, which they did get. But since then, as you can see, full bear market back down to the lower regions of 1900. A lot of economists were saying that 1900 was going to be hit. We got to roughly about 1930. And now we're seeing that it's going to have another leg higher. Being asked if it's a sell or a buy from R97. Thank you for your questions. Keep them coming. At the moment, we're seeing that it's hit some slight resistance here, as you can see from the chart, roughly about the 1983, 1984 area. So we could expect a slight downturn shortly. But after that, we are expecting possibly another move to the 2000 handle. Obviously, we are waiting for the NFP figures. They're supposedly roughly going to be around 200,000, which isn't something that the American economy wants at the moment. It wants quite a big move for the dollar and obviously the American economy as well. So if that's the case, we could see gold start pushing above 2000 again, as you can see here from roughly let's just see when this was, when we hit this bottom. This was on the 30th, so only a couple of sessions ago. We've had nearly a $50, well, pretty much a $50 move in just a couple of days. So obviously, if we get another $20, $30, we're at that 2000 handle once again. So this is something that we're going to be looking out closely for. Just want to say thank you for joining me once again. And as I said, any questions that you have, keep them coming. And we'll go through a couple of the slides that I've prepared just to see what was happening for the ADP data, for other things like retail sales, inflation, and I'll be joined by my special guest, Daniel. He'll be joining me roughly in about 10-15 minutes just to go through what we can expect from the non-farm payroll. So without further ado, let's just have a look at, before we go into anything, let's just have a quick disclaimer. And foreign exchange trading and investment in CFDs can be highly speculative and may result in losses as well as profits. Foreign exchange and derivative trading is not suitable for many members of the public, and only risk capital should be applied. Very important to note that only risk capital should be applied to your trades. This webinar is provided for information purposes only, and no information contained herein constitutes a solicitation for the purpose or the purchase or sale of a commodity, security, or investment, nor should it serve as the basis for any investment decision. Orbix Limited does not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of any information or analyst supplied. So without further ado, let's get into what we were seeing previously. So analysts are looking likely that we could have a decrease. We had 253,000 new jobs being added last time around. Now we've got roughly 190,000 to 200,000 expected to be added, which gives us obviously still a good jobs number, but not good enough to really start pushing the dollar in the direction that we want it to go. If we look at the previous readings, we've had 236,000, 253,000. So it would be nice to have another 250,000, 240,000 new jobs added, but it's not looking likely this time around. But we could see some surprises in store as well. So if we look at the back end of the year, we're seeing that we had a jump roughly about this time last year in the summer, and then NFP numbers have really been averaging roughly about 300,000. We've been just above it, just below it. We had quite a big dip in the last couple of readings of 165,000. So that was quite a big disappointment. However, if we look at unemployment data as well, that is likely apparently to jump to 3.5%. It might not be such a big have such a big impact, but it's still going to probably have a slight impact on the jobs number as well. So if we look at weekly jobless claims, they're still over 200,000. We did go over 250,000 a few weeks ago. Obviously, this is a weekly event for the US jobless numbers, so it's not like the NFP where we get this one group of information and set it out to the market. So it's not really bothering the market too much, I would say. Inflation, on the other hand, is bothering the market quite a lot because it's given the Fed the next headache whether to raise rates or not. So this will be quite significant if we're going to have another move to the upside or downside for the dollar as well. So this time last year, approximately 9.1%, 40-year high for inflation, roughly last summer. Since then, 10 consecutive readings to the downside, but it's only dropped a tenth of a percent from the last time around, going from 5% to 4.9%. It is still a decline, but how much of a decline is it going to be in the near term as well, especially now that we've got the US debt ceiling talks apparently approved by the Senate. Joe Biden will pass it into law now officially, but it has taken a while to get there, and there hasn't been any defaults on the on the American economy as well. So that's quite a good thing. So we'll look later a little bit more in detail with that now where we're going with the dollar. So just the last slide, obviously don't want to bore you too much with the slides. We're going to get back right into the charts in a second. Just looking at retail sales because it went into positive territory for the first time in the last couple of readings, and it's at 0.4% now. It was in negative territory twice, minus 0.7%. But as you can see here, apart from roughly the holiday season in America, when it jumped to 2.8%, we've had very bad readings on retail sales. So that's keeping the dollar down quite significantly as well. And finally, private businesses, or ADP, as they are also known, came in at 278,000, just below forecast of 291,000. So not too much of a bad result there, but it's still looking likely that we will have possibly another move that could affect the dollar in the near term as well. So just before I go back on the charts, I just wanted to say, as I said, any questions that you like to ask, any markets that you want to have a look at today, we'll be looking at the majors, gold, dollar, euro, Japanese yen, Dow Jones, etc. But if there's anything else that catches your eye, please let me know and we'll head right to it as well. So let's just see where we're looking at the moment. So let's just go on to the euro dollar, because in the euro dollar, it's very fascinating at the moment. For the majority of the time that we saw this double top being formed at the beginning of May, we've had this very steep decline in the euro dollar, dropping roughly, over just shy of 450 pips. So it's very, very significant that we will see possibly another move to the downside. However, for now, we're seeing a very big correction in the market since we got this double bottom here, very firm support roughly about the mid 106 handle. So because of that, we've seen a bounce. We're looking higher now. We've probably bounced roughly about 50 to 60 pips from the last couple of sessions. Now it's gone into triple digits, over 130 pips since the last 2 days. So we're really seeing quite a turnaround. This is mainly due to the debt ceiling crisis that has kind of dragged on quite significantly, and also the fact that we are seeing the NFP numbers being a little bit less than expected. So roughly about 190,000 to their last reading, which was 253,000. So as I said, a little bit of a bad turnout at the moment for the numbers, but we'll see what's going to happen at the moment. So now we're trading at the mid 107 handle. Where are we going next with this euro dollar pair? It seems that we could just have a slight correction. I won't put too many lines on the chart because it does get a bit confusing even for myself. We'll have a slight correction, possibly down to the lower handle of 107, and then we could expect quite a sharp move to the upside. Obviously, if the NFP numbers do come in a little bit underwhelming, then this will give us a big move and a big catalyst. That price action will then be quite favorable for the euro as well. Obviously, European inflation did come down yesterday quite significantly as well. So this is another reason why we are seeing quite a big boost in the euro. For the pound, Let's just pull it back onto the 4-hour chart because it's basically going in a quite a similar direction to what we've seen with the euro dollar. So since we found this particular bottom, roughly about the 123 handle, we have started rising quite significantly over 200 pips, and now we're trading at the middle 125 handle. So this is quite significant. This is giving us the boost that the dollar is on the back foot now after having quite a progressive month in May, and this could start going even higher as well. Look on Bitcoin as well. I had a few requests on Bitcoin. We had this jump in Bitcoin action in the last couple. Well, this happened at the beginning of the week. We're now seeing quite a big move to the downside because it looks very exhaustive, this gap. Usually when we see a gap in the market, we either get runaway gaps, which bounce, and then we can keep moving to the upside or to the direction that the gap happened. At the moment, it looks like an exhaustive gap. And what that means is we are exhausting with price action. We've basically covered this gap here, as you can see, quite easily from the last couple of days. And as you can see here, now we're trading roughly in this zone. So this will give us the reason that we will be looking at Bitcoin quite significantly, because if we do get some firm resistance roughly about the mid 27,000 handle, then prices could start moving lower quite significantly and drop below 27 and go to probably 25,000. So we'll keep looking on that as well. I'm getting asked again, gold buy or sell. Like we just said at the beginning of the presentation, we're just seeing now where it's going at the moment. So we're seeing a firm um, consolidation at the moment because we're getting a bit of resistance. We could start dropping down to roughly about 1970, roughly about $10 before we start moving higher if the NFP numbers are quite dismal. So obviously gold usually works in the opposite direction of the dollar. So this is what we'll be looking at in the near term as well. So hope that answers your questions, but please keep your questions coming. And I'll just give a small note to everyone and to say thanks again for joining me. So looking at dollar yen's been quite opportunistic, I would say. It's been quite predictable at the moment because we've seen the 141 handle have very heavy resistance. We broke through the 140 handle, which was quite good for the dollar yen, but now, as you can see, in a very, very tough bear channel at the moment, and we're really starting to see price action on the downside. So we've slipped below the 139 handle. This has been a bit detrimental for the dollar yen. Obviously good news for the yen traders, bad news for the dollar traders, but dollar pairs have been collapsing quite significantly across the board. So again, we'll see if that's going to have any kind of uplift when the NFP numbers are released, or if we're going to have a slight downturn in that respect. So we could see a move out of this bear channel. And if we do get a significant break, then I'll be expected to probably put some buy positions in for the dollar yen, because we could expect another move to the upside and possibly to this 140 handle. So 140 was quite a significant resistance area, because if we look at the last time we saw a downturn, it was roughly about the 140, 141 area. We had this V-shaped recovery up until 137, and then another downturn before we saw a bounce. So this is why we're keeping an eye out for these particular levels. And 141, 140 is a very good one as well. So we'll keep it on the 1 hour chart for now, because we want to see what's going to happen and what's going to be in store for the NFP numbers as well. Been asked some questions. So just to clarify for R97, what happened for the dollar yen? As I said, we just had a sharp bear run. We're just going to see now what's going to happen with the movement to the upside as well. So for the Dow, what we're seeing now at the moment is quite a tricky market for the Dow, because with the debt ceiling bill being passed, we're now seeing a little bit more of a jump in the Dow Jones. However, it has been pretty choppy in the last couple of trading sessions. If I put it on the 1 hour chart, which is a bit easier to see, as you can see here, we've had this very vast choppy action, which gives us the signal that we could possibly see some slight resistance here before we head lower and then possibly a bounce and a move higher to test this particular channel here. So this is what we are looking at in the near term, especially for the US indices such as the S&P, the Dow, and the Nasdaq as well. So Jody, thank you for sending your message. So Dow Jones, we're just looking at it now. As I said, we're seeing now a little bit of resistance, roughly about the lower to mid 33,000 range. We're possibly see a downturn if the NFP numbers don't come in very well. However, if you've been following the fundamental news in the last few days, you've noticed that artificial technology stocks and AI stocks, artificial intelligence stocks, have really jumped quite significantly. So Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, etc. These have all jumped because there's been quite a lot of funding going into these technology stocks because there's been a big boom for these artificial intelligence chips as well. A lot of people are saying, is it going to be a dot-com bubble that's going to burst? It's not likely it's as big as a dot-com bubble because obviously what happened back over 20 years ago was a lot of internet companies were invested and overvalued in before a lot of investors pulled their funds away. With firms like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, these are well-established companies that will probably keep thriving in this market. So we will keep on having funds and possibly doing very good business as well. So that's why we're seeing at the moment quite a big move in the market as well. So just a quick look on the pound as well. We just briefly touched on it earlier, but just want to see where we could be going in the near term as well. So we're looking at all these signals and channels that we have been looking at as well. Jody, I hope that answered your question. Let's reply back. And yeah, as I said, keep your questions coming. Any markets that you want to look into, please let me know. But the main ones we're seeing at the moment, as I said, gold is possibly one of the biggest, euro dollar, the biggest traded forex pair on a daily basis. And the dollar yen, as I said, it's been getting some good traction and good news because as we've had this 140 or 141 being hit, and now we're looking to start falling on the downside as well. So just under 15 minutes to go before the NFP results are released. So as I said, we are looking at roughly 190 to 200,000 new jobs to be added, and we're also seeing now that the market has kind of priced this in because we are starting to fall quite significantly on the Dow pairs, sorry, the dollar pairs. So gold, let's just go on a 30-minute chart. I just want to see where we're looking. The time frames that we're looking at as well is very important, depending if you're a day trader or a long-term trader. As you can see here, we're hitting an area of vast consolidation at the moment. We've seen a top of roughly about 1980, sorry, 1981, and we've seen this bottom of roughly about 1975. So this $5 to $6 move could be very, very critical for gold when the NFP numbers are released as well. Going into a slight symmetrical triangle at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see what is next for what the next move is for the gold, for the yellow metal, as it is also known as well. So as you can see, we've had this kind of recent double top, which has given us this firm resistance. So there was a predictability that the last time that we saw, we've gone the 15-minute charts, it's a bit easy to see. The last time that we saw this particular move, it was kind of predictable that we were going to start sinking lower. But price action has obviously given us quite a few surprises before. So it'll be very interesting to see if we're going to have another move to the downside as well. Okay, Jody Ford, thank you. Thank you too. As I said, any markets that you want to for me to look at, please let me know. So this double top is really, really hanging in the balance now. And if we have another move, then we could see possibly the fact that price action could start going more sideways than we had before. Now, the euro dollar, if we go on the smaller charts, so 30-minute charts, like most of the charts at the moment, we're having an area of consolidation because a lot of the markets are just waiting for the NFP announcement. Obviously, one of the biggest announcements of the month, apart from the Federal Reserve interest rate decision, which has really been giving us quite a lot of details as well. So this is the opposite of a symmetrical triangle at the moment. We're really starting to see if we're going to be dropping below the mid 107 handle. I would give it a few more um, pips to the downside at least. I'd probably say roughly about the mid to lower 107 is quite significant. So it's probably got another 30 to 40 pips to keep on moving lower. But just bear in mind that with the last NFP numbers, we haven't really seen quite a big move in the market for pip values, especially. We've only really seen 20 to 30 pip moves and then a retracement. So it'll be interesting if we can get 70 to 80 pip moves. This will give us more of a reason to start putting some buys or sell positions in and really start capitalizing on these opportunities as well. So, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, we are seeing now roughly about just over $100 move, sorry, 100 pip move. And this is from yesterday's session. So 100 pips in one trading session is quite significant. It means there's a very strong euro going on, very weak dollar. And as I said, the European inflation rate did actually fall quite significantly year on year. It went from 6.3%, sorry, 7% to 6.1%. So almost 1% drop in just one session. And the unemployment rate fell by a tenth of a percent as well. So this is giving us quite a big favor for the euro, but not so much for the dollar as well. So let's just take a look. So just under 10 minutes before the NFP is released, we're just waiting now to see if there's going to be any slight changes in price action. So I'll put these on the 15-minute charts just to see, give us a bit more clarity as we head into the last 10 minutes. Dollar yen at the moment, very, very tightly consolidated, very, very choppy as well. If we look for the last swing high that we saw, and the previous spikes that we've seen in the market, it's not really looking likely that price action will jump out of this particular zone anytime soon. However, as I said, for me personally, I'm looking at that 140 handle to be tested once again. And this 140 handle is not so far away, roughly at the last height that we saw here. So with that being said, just over 100 pips for the dollar yen. This could be very, very good for buyers in the market. Bulls are really preparing to break out of this consolidation zone. Every time there is a consolidation zone, I get asked quite often, what do we look for? Price action breakouts. Look out for false breaks, especially false spikes in the market. And what I mean by that, if we're on the 5-minute chart, sorry, we're just seeing these particular moves to the upside before completely collapsing lower. So as you can see here, we've moved higher, we've tested, and then completely collapsed again. Very, very choppy. So at the moment, just waiting for that next spike in the market. If that does happen and we get to roughly about 139 without a break from this channel, then it would be quite predictable that price action would start moving lower and we'd probably get to the 130 area, 138 area again, the lower regions anyway. So this is something to look out for the dollar yen as well. It's very, very packed in there, and it's looking likely that we will have possibly another move to the downside if we fail at this particular area as well. So just quickly going back on the Dow, because I just want to go into 15-minute chart just to see what the price actually is looking like. But as you can see here, how many points we've jumped in just in today's trading alone gives us the satisfactory conclusion, as I said, that the Republicans have agreed on the debt ceiling to be lifted. It's been passed and approved in Senate, which is very important in Congress, and now Joe Biden will put it into law. So this is why we've seen quite a big jump on the Dow Jones and most of the US indices as well. If we look at the S&P and the Nasdaq, we're just seeing where we're going at the moment as well. So just over 5 minutes before we get the NFP results as well. So let's just take a quick look at if there's any new information, any new updates. As I said, it was 190,000 approximately to 200,000. Let me just see where we're looking at the moment. And it's looking at still at 190,000 approximately, so nothing's changed there. So quite underwhelming NFP number at the moment, but obviously when we go live, we could be seeing this as a total opposite as well. So NFP, as I said, just over 5 minutes away. So yes, with the Dow Jones, just have a more of an in-depth look now as we get closer to the time. So we're just seeing a few points to the downside, but this could be just a slight correction before we start moving higher. Just be careful that when any asset or instrument starts moving in a direction quite significantly, there could be also that retracement period and the move lower as well. So this is quite important. Okay, let's just take one final look on Bitcoin as well, because let's just go on the 15-minute chart, because we're just seeing that, as I said, look out for false spikes, and Bitcoin is probably the king or queen of false spikes, because these are very, very um, difficult to trade on. Obviously, price actions taken us down on this particular spike to just under 27,000 and or 26,500, and because of this we're starting to move a bit higher as well, because it has been a very big rejection in the market and prices have started moving higher as well. So those of you that are trading Bitcoin, let me know what you think. If you have traded Bitcoin before, it is looking likely that we will see possibly another big bounce in the market as well. But the US banking crisis apparently is over. So hopefully that's not really letting us moving to um, the downside at the moment. It's really being elevated, and it's looking likely that it's possibly going to move a bit higher. So again, a bit like the euro dollar, it's going in this symmetrical triangle pattern on the 15-minute chart. We're just seeing if we're going to have more of this breakout, or if it's going to be quite subdued with the price action moving lower as well. So just over 3 minutes to go, getting closer to that particular time. It's looking very, very exciting at the moment, because I just want to see, very, very interested if we're going to have more of a buy market, if even if the numbers are quite subdued for the NFP, if we're going to have more of a market to the downside as well. And if that's going to happen, where are we going to go next in the not only the Bitcoin market, but also the European market and dollar market as well. So we're just seeing now we're going to have any kind of movement, and just bear with me. And we'll just wait and see as the numbers come in. So yes. So I just had a request for the Dow Jones, I believe, for the 1 hour chart. We looked on the 1 hour chart before, but let's just have a look again. So as I said before, we're just waiting for this particular bear market to open if price action does start moving to the downside, especially. So just over 2 minutes to go. We should start seeing the markets start moving quite significantly at the moment. And we'll see if that has any optimism in the market as well. Just a quick note that unfortunately my colleague Daniel couldn't make the NFP webinar today. So unfortunately you're stuck with me at the moment. So as I said, any questions that you have, please let me know. We're just going to pull it back now onto the tile windows to see where we're going. So I'll keep them on the 15-minute charts just for now, just so that we can see where we are going. I'll remove quite a few of these signals, just so that we can get a bit more of a flavor of where everything's going to be ending up. So 15 minutes, we'll pull the dial back to 15 minutes, Jody, just for now, just to see where the market will be going to, and just zoom it in so it's a bit easy. No, just a bit easier to see. Okay, so we're almost there. We've just got just over a minute to go. We'll start seeing the prices for the chart start moving slowly, start reacting as we get up to that last minute, and I'll be able to keep you updated on how not only the NFP numbers, but also the employment rate, because this could be very significant as well. So as I said, gold is pretty much looking likely that it's going to a symmetrical triangle like Bitcoin and the euro dollar, and also a little bit like the dollar yen as well. So we've got 15-minute charts at the moment. We'll see if they're going to start breaking out in any time soon. So just over 20 minutes to go. Sorry, 20 seconds to go. And the numbers are just coming in right about now. So we'll start seeing some reactions in the market as well. So let's just zoom in a little bit on these particular trades to see where we're heading. So wow, big jumps in the market. Let's see what the numbers are. So non-farm payrolls came in at 333,000. Wow, so very big number there. Exceeded expectations at 190,000 and over from the previous number as well. And as you can see, favorable dollar positions at the moment. Very, very exciting times. So as you can see, gold's really spiking down, obviously almost $10. As we said before, we're going to see possibly a move down to 1970 and then a move back upwards. But as you can see, markets are retracing already. So it's been a big shock to the system. However, we're seeing that the dollar markets are retracing quite nicely at the moment. So let's just see how much of a spike that was in terms of pip value. With 25, 26 pips, not too much in the way of being such a big market mover at the moment. Gold as well, uh, just moving over $7. So that will start moving a bit higher as well, possibly because we're going to see what's going to happen for the rest of the dollar pairs. The Dow Jones hasn't really moved that much, just a few points, but it's pretty much retracing quite significantly. In fact, all the markets we're looking at today has retraced, apart from the dollar yen. Euro dollar starting to slide down a bit further now, as is the gold. So just basically digesting the information. The markets are just seeing what's in store now for the next couple of minutes. Up to 5 minutes, we could get some big reactions. Let's look at the unemployment rate as well. The unemployment rate has jumped to 3.7%. So this could be the reason why we haven't seen such a continuation on this dollar movement. We've had very good jobs numbers, 339,000, just to reiterate, very, very good number. However, the unemployment rate is at 3.7%, and that is up from 3.4%. So we haven't had that much of a percentage percentage jump in quite a while. So this is giving us quite a big move as well. Average hourly earnings year on year, that is down 0.1% to 4.3%. And average hourly earnings month on month, again, down 0.1% to 0.3%. So this has been a bit of a mixed bag for the non-farm payroll, because it's basically, in one sense, we've got a good jobs number, but on the other sense, we've got a bad unemployment and average hourly earnings as well. So let's just see where we're going with this. So at the moment, euro dollar really starting to push lower. We're seeing 17, 18 pips, not too much to shout about at the moment. What will be interesting, though, if I could put it back to a 30-minute chart, just bring it up a bit easier. What will be very interesting, though, is if we have a continuation lower back down to 107, and then we'll see something like this V-shape decline to the downside. And in no time at all, we'll probably get back down to the 107 handle. So this is something we're really starting to look at as a possibility at the moment. So if we do keep below this particular level of the mid 107 range, we could drop another 50 pips quite easily by the end of this trading session, back down to 107. So that's quite significant there to look at. Let's see on gold as well. Gold, we'll put it back to the 30-minute chart just to get more of an overall picture. So we've, as you can see, broken out of this symmetrical triangle. And because of that, again, a little bit like the dollar, we could see something like this quite significantly. This V-shaped recovery to the downside. So there's no reason why we can't get back down to roughly about 1960, 1950 by the end of this trading session as well. This is very, very likely that this could happen. But we'll see, as you can see here, from the symmetrical triangle channel that we pointed out earlier, we're seeing a bit of support now. So the gold is actually starting to move a bit higher. So we've gone from $10 to $7. Now we've retraced back up to $2 to $3. Just keep an eye out to see if gold will start collapsing through the 1965 area back down to 1960, and then roughly back down to 1954, which is where we started at the beginning of yesterday's session, with the new month happening as well. So as I said, keep your questions coming. We'll just be here for a bit longer, just looking at the markets and anything that you want me to check out as well. So dollar yen, we're going to pull all these back to 30-minute charts because I just want to see what the possibilities are and the potentials. As you can see here, dollar yen is starting to fall quite significantly through this lower channel. We've had this spike, very, very big wick or shadow on the candle. That shadow alone is 50 pips, which is quite significant. The body of the candle now is not really quite large, not even a pip at the moment. So this is a very undecided doji on the 30-minute chart, and we're just seeing where we're going to go next for the next trading session, at least going into the end of today's session. So we don't really have too much more big news headlines to come. There's just some oil news later on, which probably won't move the markets at all. And then next Monday, Monday's quite a slow day for America, but on this particular Monday, we've got ISM Services PMI as well. Obviously, last Monday was a bank holiday in America, or a federal holiday, so it was closed and there was not much going on. But as we go into next week as well, we've got Canada's Ivy PMI, which can sometimes move markets quite significantly, and their balance of trade for North America in general. Thursday brings us to just the initial jobless claims that we've seen, and then we cap off on Friday with unemployment rate coming out of Canada. So not too much in the way of news by the end of the week, but yes, Monday starts us off with ISM Services PMI as well. So this is giving us quite a big move. So as I said, 339,000 new jobs being added in the market. Well, let's just keep going with the charts that we're looking at the moment. So the Dow, not really too much to talk about with the Dow. We've had a bit of a move up and down, moving roughly about 50 points, which is nothing really in the grand scheme of things, where we've moved over um, moved over 500 points in the last couple of days. 50-point move hasn't really seen much of a move in the market, or something to really start giving us some big opportunities. So we'll just keep that a bit subdued at the moment for the Dow Jones. Bitcoin, similar to gold and the euro dollar, put it on the 30-minute chart. We're seeing now this breakout to the downside, but giving us quite a big unpredictable move, because it's hovering roughly about the 27,000 handle. Is this going to be our next support for Bitcoin, or are we going to see these big moves in the market that have happened recently? Happen all the time actually with Bitcoin, roughly falling to $400 to $500. Currently, we've just fallen roughly about $100, but nothing in the realm of $500 to $600. Just been asked by Jody, for the news, only focus on the result to see if it's better than the forecast, rather than the previous result. Yes, we take account into the previous results because we want to see how much of a move it's going to affect the market from the last time around. So this is why we want to look at the previous, the post data that we get, and also the rumors as well, because before the NFP, you never know what market action, what price action will happen before the news data has come out. So if we give that example for the euro dollar, as you can see, before the market news came out, we had this move to the upside for the euro, and then this vast consolidation because price action was basically waiting for the NFP result. Same with gold as well. Very, very choppy consolidation because we were waiting for the NFP news to come out, because that was the next big news in the market. So Jody, this is the reason why we want to focus on not only the result, but the pre-data as well, because this gives us more of a signal to see where the data is going. I hope that helps. And questions coming. As I said, we're going to keep looking at the charts to see um, where everything's going to be heading as well. I'll be here for a little bit longer. And as I said, thank you once again for joining me. It's been a real pleasure to take you through the NFP results and on my own this time because my colleague Daniel couldn't make it. But it's been a pleasure hosting this with you. So with cable, wow, look at that. Pretty much a full reversal on cable. We've seen now a move of roughly about 30 pips. It was kind of predictable because we saw that the unemployment rate was very, very detrimental for the American economy. So we're not seeing quite a big move in the market for progressive dollar. So this is the reason why we're having quite a bit of bad news for the dollar as well. So let's just keep the market action and price action coming. So yes, as you can see here, the euro dollar is pretty much trading like the pound dollar in the sense that we've almost had a full retracement, full doji on that particular candlestick, and prices have basically settled now. So with that being said, this looks like a bit of a false break, a false spike, and prices will probably keep hovering in the region of the mid 107 handle to the high end of 107. So roughly about 30, 40 pips in that in that environment as well. Looking at gold, it's looking likely again that all the markets at the moment are seeing this kind of price action, quite choppy, quite consolidative, and we're seeing quite a big retracement in the prices as well. So 1976, 1975, we're trading at the moment. This has been the case for the last couple of hours. We did get up to 1980 approximately, but that hasn't really given us too much of a signal where to go at them in the near term as well. So nice price action at the moment, very, very predictable. Let's just take a look at the dollar yen because this had the biggest spike. And wow, look at that, almost a full retracement on the dollar yen pair as well. So once again, we're seeing what the possibilities are for the near term for the dollar yen and where we're actually looking as well. The Dow is kind of having a bit of a test at roughly about 60 points to the upside, having a test at that previous uh, channel that we drew earlier. And this is pretty much from the last time we had these swing high and swing lows. So yeah, that would be interesting if that does break and we start moving higher, because then we would probably get this full V-shaped recovery that we saw, looking like a harmonic pattern as well. Um, could be a butterfly or a crab because the middle part is not as extended. So that could be a nice, quite harmonic pattern that we'll be looking at as well. So we've just been getting some other questions as well about the DAX, about the German data, and also ADP data on Thursday in today's results. So basically, ADP data, it's a bit like the weekly performance, weekly jobless claims, as well as retail sales. We just want to have an overall scope, Jody, of what's happening in America. So it's always good to take into account not only NFP readings, but also retail sales, inflation data, unemployment data, ADP data as well, private businesses. How many private businesses have hired new staff in the last month as well? This is very, very significant because we get a reading of what the overall economy is doing as well. So this is something where we are looking into quite significant all the time, basically, because we don't really want to miss anything in the near term as well. So let's bring the DAX on the chart as well. So at the moment, we were looking at the DAX a few sessions ago because we did notice that this V-shaped recovery from the last swing low was happening. So as you can see here, very, very predictable market. We had this swing, nice support, and then price action started moving higher. However, as you can see now, very firm double top being put into place, and now we're seeing possibly this 16,000 handle being tested once again. So I've just been asking for more information. The market seems unpredictable for the NFP. Um, Yes, employment change is better. We expect the dollar to be stronger. Yes, that is correct. However, if you look at the unemployment rate as well as the average hourly earnings year on year and month on month, they were quite down. So this is why we're not seeing such a big jump on the dollar. So we have to take the whole information in. Like I was saying to Jody earlier, ADP data, retail sales data, and inflation data, these things, and unemployment data, just to name some of them, these things are taken into account when we're looking into where the dollar is going, because the unemployment data was down, and also the average hourly earning data was down for the dollar. So this has really started basically giving us more of a level. So we've had big jumps on the NFP data, which is good for the dollar. However, the unemployment data and the average hourly earnings have really started pulling the good news, let's say, down for the dollar as well. So let's just finish off just for Mateus. He asked me about the German economy, the indice, the German DAX. And as I said, we're just seeing this V-shaped recovery come into play now. So if we put on the hourly chart, you can see it a lot more easier. We've had this downturn in the market, now an upturn. Now we've hit this fresh resistance. So we were expecting price action to start going lower, but this could be just a slight correction before prices started moving higher as well. So, but this 16,000 handle for me is something that I'll be looking at for the rest of today's session, because it can be very, very opportunistic. If we break that, then price action can keep on pushing higher, and then we can get back to roughly about the mid 16,000 handle before we know it. But just going back onto where we're going next. We don't have a live session for the ISM Services PMI, but we'll be updating the information on our Telegram channel as well. I'll be doing a recorded video in the morning to see what the opportunities are for the PMI data. That will be put on our Telegram and our YouTube channel as well. So thanks for asking, Jody. We'll be doing that. We'll be doing more live sessions of these as well. But let me know what you want to see more. We're doing NFP live sessions. Obviously, we'll possibly be doing big moves in the market, such as a Fed interest rate decision, European Central Bank interest rate decision, and also we'll possibly be looking at other big market movers as well. But the ISM data could be something we're looking at as well. Please send us your thoughts if you want us to start us doing live webinars for that. That would be no problem at all. But yes, just for Monday, we'll be looking at a recorded video, but I'll be looking in the morning at what the possibilities are. As I said, it'll be posted on our Telegram and YouTube channel, so you don't have to miss out on that information. So let me know what other charts you'll be looking at as well. Been asked as So just being asked again if to wait until the buzz is over from the NFP or to hedge both ways. Hedging can also be a very good indicator in trading. But as you can see now, it won't really be very beneficial in this particular market, because we're seeing now that the euro dollar and other currency pairs are just being a bit subdued. I mean, the body of this candlestick is only 10 pips, which isn't really a lot. So there wouldn't be any point to hedge at the moment. However, if you want to wait for the market buzz to die down, that's a very good tactic as well in the market, because obviously the market noise does actually start happening quite significantly. And then before you know it, the session starts calming down, and then markets start being a bit more easier to trade. When you have high impact news events such as the NFP, if I put it onto the 1 minute chart, as you can see here for the euro dollar, we'll just zoom in. This was when this is when the NFP was released on this particular minute. And as you can see here, we went to 27, 28 pips in just a minute. But that reversal that happened, this big spike in the market, also happened as well. So this was nearly 20 pips. So if you think that the euro dollar dived nearly 30 pips down and then retraced back up to 20 pips all in 1 minute, this is something that you can avoid if you don't want to be risking too much, I would say, or to have too much of a high risk. Unless you're trying to scalp the news or trying to trade the news, then obviously it's your prerogative, it's your reason to trade. However, if you want to steer clear of this particular market noise, from the chat that we've been from the question that we've just been asked, if you want to wait until the buzz is over, then it might be better for you as a trader, if you don't want to trade news, to wait until the market's gone down a bit. the market news has gone away and the buzz has gone down. Fortunately for this particular trading session, there is no other news in the market. Usually we get Canada's NFP data, and we also get ISM manufacturing data as well on a Friday. And we can also get services PMI data on a Friday as well. It's fallen on a Monday for next week, but we can also get ISM data, which could start moving the market quite significantly. But for now, we're looking likely that it will probably calm down quite significantly, and price action will be moving to a more consolidative stance. So I've been asked a question again from Jody. About our Telegram channel. Unfortunately, you can't actually post anything yourself on our Telegram channel. It's for us to post ourselves, but we do give fundamental and technical analysis on the Telegram channel, and also our daily video of what's hot in the market and what to look out for as well, where I personally look at two instruments or two pairs in the market to see where the opportunities lie and what the big movers are as well. Obviously, on Monday, I'll be taking you through the back end of how the NFP has performed for the rest of this trading session to see if we had any big moves in the market. And obviously the weekend gaps as well. We have to be aware of the weekend particular gaps because these can have big moves in the market. And if you get a gap and you're trading, then it could be beneficial, but it also could be detrimental as well. So just be careful when trading weekend gaps. But that's all to come on Monday when I take you through that particular move in the market. Just been asked today, there's no Canadian data. No, there's no Canadian data today. Usually we do get the same kind of data happening. However, this particular trading session for this NFP, there is no Canadian news as well. So I hope that's helped out and clarified everything. But keep your questions coming. I'll be online for a while yet. So if you want me to keep looking through charts or answering any of your questions, please feel free. But like I said, we're just seeing now pretty much the market calm down quite significantly. Not really too many big moves in the market. The dollar yen starting to creep up a little bit more, but it looks like a big candlestick. But if we look at the overall picture, we've got roughly a 50 pip move on the dollar yen, euro dollar as well. We're seeing now only roughly about 20 pips. So we're seeing now it's really starting to die down. Had another question from Daily Forex Signals. I'm observing that the market is respecting the pivot levels for the currency pairs. Yes, usually when we put in certain levels for, and yourself as well, most probably, when we put in certain levels for currency pairs and for commodities, indices, etc., we usually start looking at support and resistance levels, and they do usually respect those particular levels as well. So fundamental news, that's correct. Yes, news does not always respect the pivot levels or these particular levels. As you can see, with high impact news events such as the NFP, it is looking likely that we will get some unpredictable moves in the market. And as I said before, 339,000 new jobs being added in the market compared to 190,000 estimated. I mean, that's over 100 new thousand jobs on the estimation being added. So this is very, very significant as well. It's a very good market for the dollar. However, unfortunately, the unemployment rate and the average hourly earnings did actually put a halt to that. So this is what we are seeing at the moment. But yes, as I said, please let us know where you are looking, what you are seeing, and we'll keep you up to date on our Telegram channel on Monday to see where we're looking and what the aftermath is of this NFP data. Do we have any weekend gaps? And obviously the services PMI data that we're going to get on Monday. So that's all from today's non-farm payrolls. As I said, I'll be online a bit longer to answer any questions that you have, but keep an eye on the charts. If you're trading for the rest of the day, there could be some surprises in store. Even though the fundamental news events have stopped, we could have some buyers or sellers enter the market, and we could have more of price action in favor of the dollar as well, which it seems to be happening at the moment. Obviously, euro dollar is falling lower, which means the dollar is gaining strength. And on the flip side of that, it means that the gold is falling as well. So thank you for joining me. Thank you from from all of our viewers from around the world. We have one from Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please feel free to join our Telegram channel. Obviously, it's free of charge. Excuse me. We'll be able to provide you with the latest in the fundamental news events as they happen, just giving our traders just an up-to-date breaking news stories as well, even if it's from a voice message or a video. So just to make sure that we're not missing anything at all. So thank you very much for joining me. And I'll catch you at the next non-farm payroll. So thanks again. As I said, keep an eye out for the charts where we're looking for. The dollar seems quite strong in the last few trading sessions. Will this continue, or will we see another downturn? Gold as well. We were slightly pushing for that $2,000 range, but as you can see here on the chart, we are now falling to 1970, 1971. Only $30 away though, which isn't really too much of a move to the downside. So as I said, keep your questions coming. I'll be online for a while, but this is the end of the NFP at the moment. So let me know what you think and join me again next time around, and we'll speak again for now. Speak again next time. Bye for now and have a great weekend ahead. God bless and take care and happy trading. Bye for now.